What makes a piece of jewelry truly priceless? The weight of its diamonds, the purity of its pearls, the name of the master who crafted it? Or perhaps, is it the stories it holds? Stories of love, power, triumph, and at times, tragedy. Today, we will speak of one of the most recognizable and beautiful treasures of the British Crown, the tiara known as the Lover's Knot. But behind its dazzling beauty lies a complex reputation, one that causes many to look upon its sparkle with a sense of apprehension. Why is this magnificent creation associated with headaches, an irritating sound, and even family discord? Let us delve into its history. Our story begins not with the tiara we know today, but with its predecessor, an almost forgotten spectre from the 19th century. In an era when balls were grand affairs and aristocratic status was underscored by the glitter of jewels, tiaras featuring cascades of swinging pearls were at the height of fashion. Nearly every royal or noble family in Europe sought to possess such a treasure, and one such owner was Princess Augusta of Hesse-Kassel. In 1818, Augusta married her second cousin, Prince Adolphus, Duke of Cambridge, the seventh son of Britain's King George III. The marriage was not merely a union of two hearts, but also a merging of considerable fortunes. It is most likely that as a wedding gift from her wealthy groom, Augusta received a magnificent neoclassical tiara crowned with elegant bows known as lover's knots and adorned with pendulous pearl drops. This piece was the very embodiment of the elegance of its time. However, like many treasures of that epoch, its fate proved to be obscure. Years later, for unknown reasons, the tiara was sold by the Cambridge family and is believed to rest today in a private collection hidden from public view. It seemed the story of this design had come to an end. But the story of this tiara did not end with its sale. It was merely a prelude, a memory waiting for its moment to be reborn in a far grander and more famous form. For a future queen had seen it and could not forget. This queen was Mary of Teck, granddaughter of the very same Augusta of Hesse-Kassel. Upon her marriage to the future King George V, Mary became one of the most influential figures in the British monarchy. Unlike her husband's grandmother, the modest and frugal Queen Victoria, Mary possessed an unrivaled eye for jewels and a passion for them. She was not merely an owner, but a true connoisseur and collector who was not afraid to redesign and perfect historic pieces, giving them new life. The memory of her grandmother's tiara, likely seen in childhood, lingered in her mind. And so, in 1913, Queen Mary approached the royal jewelers, the House of Garrard and Company, with a special commission to recreate the splendor of her grandmother's tiara, but this was not to be a simple copy. Mary envisioned something greater. Using diamonds and pearls from her own extensive collection, she oversaw the creation of a new tiara that was named the Cambridge Lover's Knot Tiara. Let us examine this creation in detail. The frame of the tiara is crafted from silver and gold. 19 graceful arches, studded with brilliant cut diamonds, form a delicate and airy yet majestic structure. Each arch is surmounted by a lover's knot motif, a symbol of eternal connection and devotion, popular since ancient times. From each of these 19 arches hangs a flawless, drop-shaped pearl that moves with the slightest turn of the head, creating a dance of light and shadow. Originally, in keeping with the fashion of the early 20th century, the tiara was also topped by another 19 large, upright pearls, like pearlescent candles. In photographs from that period, Queen Mary is seen wearing this initial, more substantial version. However, true to her pursuit of perfection and elegance, she later had the top pearls removed, and the tiara took on the more refined and modern appearance we know today. This magnificent creation, a testament to the Queen's passion for the jeweler's art, was destined to be more than just a personal adornment. It became part of the crown jewels, intended to be passed from queen to queen. Its journey was only just beginning, and its next wearer would define an entire era. Yet her relationship with the tiara proved to be surprisingly reserved. After Queen Mary's death in 1953, the lover's knot tiara passed by inheritance to her granddaughter, Queen Elizabeth II. In the early years of her reign, the young queen appeared in this impressive jewel on several of the most significant occasions. Her radiant image harmonized perfectly with the sparkle of the diamonds and the soft luster of the pearls. Over time, however, Elizabeth began to favor other tiaras from her formidable collection. She held a special affection for the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a wedding gift from her grandmother, the very same Queen Mary. This tiara was lighter, more delicate, and filled with sentimental value. Another favorite was the famous Vladimir tiara, with its dramatic story of rescue from revolutionary Russia. Its interchangeable drops, either pearls or emeralds, offered greater versatility and allowed the piece to be adapted to different ensembles. Against the backdrop of these treasures, the heavier and more monumental lover's knot gradually faded into the background, relegated to the royal vaults for many years. The tiara that had graced the head of a reigning monarch now awaited its moment in the silence of the vaults. It was a jewel of immense prestige, anticipating a new princess who would return it to the center of global attention. And the woman who was to wear it next was destined to become the most famous woman in the world, forever linking the lover's knot with the story of a fairy tale dream and heartbreaking tragedy. In 1981, as a wedding gift, Queen Elizabeth presented the lover's knot tiara to her new daughter-in-law, Diana, Princess of Wales. Some sources claim this happened a bit later, after the birth of the heir, Prince William, as a sign of her special status as the mother of a future king. Whatever the case, from that moment on, the tiara became an integral part of Princess Diana's image. She wore it to state banquets and on official tours around the globe, and the lover's knot became her signature piece. The tiara's radiance accentuated her beauty and youth, creating the fairy tale princess image that the entire world came to adore. But behind the glare of the spotlights lay a different reality. It was during Diana's time as its keeper that the tiara began to acquire its complicated reputation. And there were several reasons for this, all quite real and tangible. First, its weight. Created in the style of the massive jewels of the 19th century, the tiara proved to be surprisingly heavy. Diana herself, according to those close to her, complained of severe headaches that would begin after just a couple of hours of wearing this magnificent piece. Imagine the constant pressure of a metal frame weighed down by numerous stones for the duration of a multi-hour state dinner. Second, the sound. This is a unique and little-known detail. With every step, with every turn of the head, the 19 swinging pearls would brush against the diamond arches, creating a soft, melodic chime. At first, this sound might have seemed charming, but according to Diana, it eventually became a persistent, maddening cacophony from which there was no escape. The constant, quiet tinkling became a source of nervous tension in the already stressful environment of official functions. But the heaviest burden of this tiara was not physical, but emotional. As Diana and Charles's fairy tale marriage frayed and unraveled into a public drama, the lover's knot became an unwitting symbol of this unhappy story. It was in this tiara that Diana appeared at events where her estrangement from her husband was particularly palpable. Observers and the press began to draw parallels: the shining lover's knots on the princess's head and the breaking bonds of love in her heart. This was, of course, merely an association, a superstition, but it became firmly fixed in the public consciousness. The tiara came to be seen not as a symbol of eternal love, but as the crown of a tragic and lonely princess. Following Diana's death in 1997, the lover's knot tiara returned to the royal vaults. A period of silence ensued. It seemed that the jewel, too closely tied to the tragic fate of its most famous wearer, might never be seen in public again. For nearly 2 decades, the lover's knot tiara remained hidden from view, a beautiful yet sorrowful relic of a life cut short. Its story seemed to have ended there, forever bound to the memory of Diana. But royal jewels have a capacity for rebirth, and a new generation was ready to write the next chapter. The question on everyone's mind was, would the tiara's heavy legacy pass to its new wearer? Then, in 2015, at a diplomatic reception at Buckingham Palace, the tiara revealed itself to the world once more. This time, it adorned the head of Kate Middleton, then the Duchess of Cambridge. The choice was deeply symbolic. The Queen not only passed a signature jewel of her late daughter-in-law to her grandson's wife, but also returned it to a woman bearing the title Duchess of Cambridge, the very same title held by the first owner of the original tiara, Augusta of Hesse-Kassel. History had come full circle. Since then, much like Diana, Catherine, now the Princess of Wales, has made the lover's knot her primary tiara for the most formal occasions. She wears it with an innate dignity and grace, showing respect for its history and its previous wearers. The marriage of Catherine and William appears strong and happy, a stark contrast to the union of his parents. And yet, the whispers of old legends persist. Royal watchers and the press, ever searching for hidden meanings, sometimes note that on the very days Catherine appears in the lover's knot, rumors of tension in the couple surface in the press, or photographs are published in which the pair seems somber. Such was the case, for example, at the wedding of Crown Prince Hussein of Jordan in June of 2023. At the daytime ceremony, Catherine looked radiant and happy in the tiara beside William. However, that evening, at the wedding banquet, eyewitnesses noted that the couple was reserved and barely interacted, which immediately sparked a wave of speculation about a quarrel. Of course, these are nothing more than coincidences. Family relationships are complex, and to blame an inanimate object for disagreements would be absurd. However, prominent jewels, especially royal ones that are constantly in the spotlight, inevitably become shrouded in myths and legends. In that respect, the lover's knot has been fortunate. Its reputation is merely suspicious and troubled, largely due to Diana's tragic fate. And so, the tiara continues its journey, acting as a silent witness to royal triumphs and tribulations. But the lover's knot is not the only jewel whispered about in palace corridors. Some stories are far darker, speaking not of family squabbles, but of true tragedy and an inescapable curse. To understand the difference, one need only look to another tiara with a similar provenance, the Hessian strawberry leaf tiara. It originally belonged to Princess Alice, the second daughter of Queen Victoria. The unhappy fate of Alice herself, who died at 35, that of her daughter, the last Russian Empress Alexandra Feodorovna, and her granddaughters, who were executed in Russia, as well as the tragic deaths of several other relatives who owned the piece, have earned it a firm reputation as a cursed object. Against such a grim history, the problems of the lover's knot tiara seem like mere echoes of human dramas. The journey of the lover's knot tiara is one from a forgotten treasure to a queen's masterpiece, from the heavy crown of the people's princess to a symbol of dignity for a future queen consort. It has witnessed love and pain, hope and disappointment. And this brings us to the ultimate question. Is a jewel simply a collection of stones and metal, an object of inanimate beauty? Or, like a living thing, is it capable of absorbing the emotions, stories, and even the fates of those who wear it, carrying their echoes through the generations? What are your thoughts on this? Is the tiara's reputation tied to its wearers? Or are these just beautiful legends enshrouding a magnificent jewel? Share your opinion in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this journey through history and splendor, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell so you won't miss new stories about the world's greatest treasures.